You stand right in front of your wardrobe every single morning. You carefully choose an outfit to express exactly who you are to the world. It feels like the most natural human routine imaginable. Yet for hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors roamed this planet completely naked. When they finally put on that very first piece of clothing, it was not for fashion or modesty, but a desperate leap for survival. And how we actually discovered when this monumental shift happened involves a secret far stranger than you think. When we try to look back into deep time, we rely entirely on what the Earth decides to keep. Bones, skulls, stone tools. These are the heavy, durable fragments of our ancestors that managed to survive millions of years buried deep in the dirt. Now, some of you are thinking, why not just dig up the oldest piece of ancient fabric? Fair question. It seems entirely logical. We find ancient pots and weapons all the time. But finding the very first shirt is an entirely different game. It comes down to the brutal, unforgiving reality of nature. The first clothes were not made of modern synthetic fibers that last forever in a landfill. They were made of delicate organic materials, animal skins, thick fur, woven plant fibers, things that nature always reclaims quickly. Leave a thick stone axe out in the heavy rain, and 1,000,000 years later, you still have a stone axe. Leave a warm leather tunic out in that exact same rain, and within just a few seasons, it is completely gone, eaten by bacteria, consumed by fungi, and quietly dissolved back into the cold soil. This brutal decay leaves a massive, frustrating blank space in the archaeological record. We can map out exactly how our ancestors' jawbones evolved to chew tougher meat. We can trace the exact era they finally figured out how to spark a warm fire. But their clothing? It just vanished into dust. The physical evidence simply evaporated without a trace. It makes the origin of clothing look like an impossible puzzle. An unsolvable mystery buried deep in the dark shadows of our human evolution. So, if the garments themselves are completely gone forever, if there are absolutely no fossils to study, how do we actually know when they first started wearing clothes? To answer that, scientists had to stop looking in the dirt. For decades, researchers were completely stuck on this unsolvable puzzle until they shifted their entire perspective. They had to stop looking for ancient fabrics or lost animal skins. Instead, they found the exact answer living right on us. The most fascinating evidence comes from a creature most of us absolutely despise, a tiny crawling parasite, the louse. Now, some of you are thinking, what do bugs have to do with human clothing? Fair question. And the answer is pure biological brilliance. For millions of years, our ancestors had thick hair covering their bodies. During this time, human head lice had free rein. They could wander anywhere, but as human evolution progressed, we lost that thick body hair. We became naked apes. The head lice were suddenly trapped entirely on our scalps. They could not survive on bare skin. But then, something incredible changed. We introduced a brand new habitat. We put on clothes, and biology immediately responded. A specific group of those head lice migrated down and evolved into an entirely new species, the body louse. Here is the key difference. Body lice do not live on human hair. They live exclusively in the fibers of human clothing. They cling to the fabric. They lay their eggs in the seams. Without clothing, the body louse literally cannot exist. So, scientists realized something profound. If you can figure out exactly when the body louse first appeared, you know exactly when humans first started wearing clothes consistently. In 2011, a groundbreaking study was published in the journal Molecular Biology and Evolution. Geneticists looked at the DNA of both species. They measured the genetic mutation rates to see exactly when the body lice branched off from the head lice. They found the exact timeline. The genetic split happened approximately 170,000 years ago. 170,000. That is the moment the body louse was officially born. That is the exact moment our ancestors first wrapped themselves in skins and furs to survive the bitter cold. An ancient, monumental leap in human history, permanently recorded not in stone, not in giant fossils, but in the microscopic DNA of a tiny, annoying bug. We searched the entire Earth for the ancient origins of our very first human garments, and yet the absolute historical truth was quietly crawling right there on the seams of our own modern clothes. But think about what that 170,000-year milestone really means. Putting on that first animal skin was not just a practical solution to a dropping temperature. It was a fundamental shift in how we interacted with the planet. Before that moment, humans existed entirely as a part of the natural environment. You felt the wind directly on your bare skin. You felt the raw heat of the sun. You were completely exposed, totally vulnerable, and intimately connected to the earth. Then, everything changed. We created a boundary. Clothing became our very first artificial barrier. It was the absolute first time we looked at the harsh natural world and decided we did not have to accept its rules. We built a portable shelter, a second skin. This second skin allowed us to survive. It allowed us to migrate out of warm climates, conquer freezing tundras, and eventually dominate the globe. But it was also a profound separation, a thick barrier between the human body and the natural world. We traded raw connection for physical safety. We traded natural vulnerability for artificial armor. Every single piece of fabric was a wall against the cold, a wall against the thorns, a wall against the environment itself. And what happens next is what modern people find hardest to understand. Because once that physical barrier was up, it never came down. The primitive clothes we wore simply to survive the brutal elements slowly transformed. They became a complex tool to signal status, to show dominance, to hide our true selves from each other. We stopped wearing clothes just to protect our fragile bodies from the freezing wind. We started wearing them to protect our fragile egos from the silent judgment of the tribe. That first animal skin was a brilliant survival tactic, but it was also the first step away from our completely wild natural origins. The moment we covered ourselves, we stopped being just another animal in the forest. We became something detached, something permanently hidden. We built our very first cage, and we willingly decided to wear it. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up to your alarm and stand right back in front of that open wardrobe, look closely at all those different fabrics quietly hanging there. Think deeply about the incredible weight of what you are actually putting on your own skin. Our ancestors spent 170,000 years using animal skin to fiercely protect themselves against the brutal, unforgiving forces of a freezing natural world. They simply wore those primitive clothes to survive the deadly winter. Today, we carefully select our modern clothes to survive the silent, constant judgment of our own kind. We traded the freezing winds for cold, calculating stares. We traded physical survival for pure social approval. We completely conquered the dangerous wild, but we permanently lost our absolute freedom in the painful process. We truly no longer dress to shield our fragile bodies from the earth. We now dress to forever hide our true selves. Zen, okay.